Hey, welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Podcast, the official podcast of the Fireside Tattoo Network. My name is Jake, and this is Fibs. Man, it's awesome that we just happen to be here at the same time because I've been keeping up. On Instagram, you see people for a while, and then they disappear from your feed. And there are a handful of people that I'll just kind of like grab onto, and I'll search them out. And you've been one of those people for the last several months where if I miss one of your posts, I'll go find your page and flip back to see because I think you're doing You've got a really unique way of making marks in the skin, and you take a lot of pretty common subject matter, flowers and skulls and stuff like that, but really approach them in a super unique, like you got a unique thumbprint, I think, in your mark making that stands out.
I just try to do simple stuff, tattoo stuff, not go crazy. I've been tattooing for 17 years now. It's gonna be 18. Yeah. So I've done my complicated things. It's worked out. It's okay. Mm-hmm. But for me, I found more interesting. I'm more happier with the simple stuff, with the tattooable stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that people have been tattooing from more than 30 years, and it still looks cool.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I talk to the client, and I try to get them to go in that direction, in the tattoo direction, because sometimes they think everything could be tattooable, or younger artists think everything could be tattooable. Be like, look at what I'm doing. Like, it's cool, but is it really tattooable? Mm-hmm. Like that, maybe that's something he will eventually find out.
Yeah,
I already find out. So that's why I go simple.
Yeah. So you've seen, you went through a period where you did a lot of complex tattoos, built a lot of things, and then watched them age, and then started to make decisions based on that.
Exactly. I working in Puerto Rico. That's originally where I'm from. Mm-hmm. We went to all sorts of faces: realistic face, black and gray face, no lining face, all that stuff. And when you do it, you experiment with it, you find out what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
That's why experience makes for knowledge, right?
Yeah. And sometimes those things don't reveal themselves for several years. So it takes 10, 15 years to see.
That's the difficult thing of accepting when another artist with more experience comes to you and say, like, you should approach your work like this, or maybe that's not gonna work in a couple of years. And it's up to you to take his word for it, or be like, nah, I think I got it locked down, but you'll see.
You'll find out in the long run. Well, one thing that you do really successfully, I think, is overshoot the space and let the body kind of crop the design in really creative ways. Is that something that it came from trying to make your tattoos more tattooable and have more longevity?
Yeah, I try to go bigger, try to go more readable.
Yeah.
This is old Japanese type of technique, Philip Liu type of technique, where you make the main subject bigger, maybe add a little bit of background to make it come forward, but try to make everything as readable as possible. Person standing a couple of feet there, if you're able to read what the tattoo is, I think you've done a really good job of it.
Yeah.
Because in the long run, that's going to be a better tattoo. It's going to last more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We talked a little bit, I forget who, we've done a handful of shows here, but someone last night was talking about thumbnailing. They do a lot of thumbnail drawings to prepare. Do you think was it Cooper? Yeah, it probably was Cooper. I know you're drawing a lot on the skin. You're stenciling probably some of the more intricate pieces. And do you do a lot of thumbnailing, a lot of really abstract shapes to kind of plan out how something might sit on the skin? Or do you just kind of go from your memory bank at this point?
I try to go from my memory bank. I just try to draw a main subject. If I'm drawing a skull or if I'm drawing a flower, I try to fit it. I try to make positions for it, try to make it flow. And then if it's in an angle that I think it needs to have more to it, when I just freehand it. It's very difficult for me because every time I set up to draw something to fit, it almost never fits. I'm never happy with how it fits. So even though I draw it up and then when I go measure it, I'm like, nah, it could be better if I add this or if I cut this and make it twist like that.
Yeah.
That's basically my approach.
Yeah.
It's very spontaneous type of thing, and I'm very honest about what I like. So if I'm doing a stencil and I don't like it, I'm gonna change it. if I think twisting it is going to be better, I'll go for that. It's very what I think in the moment.
Yeah, I think that's important to have that, to be willing to be honest with yourself. Because a lot of times you put a lot of time into a drawing. Maybe you've taken a photo of the person you draw digitally and you feel like you have it all mapped out. And then it sits, and as it actually wraps those planes of the body, it just doesn't sit the way you think it should.
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah,
That's it right there.
Yeah, it takes a little, you have to be fairly confident in yourself or honest with yourself, and you're like, I know I put some hours into this, it just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. Happened to me like every time I try to do the body of dragon. Like I'll do the head and the body, and then when I go, it's like body's gonna wrap around, it's not gonna show. I might as well just bring a finger wave over it or some flowers over it, and that's gonna make a better tattoo.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not seeing what's on the bag, why should I put it? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get to it. You get a better sense of what to put and what not to put. I think that's important.
Yeah. I was looking at a piece you were working on the other day, and you had a handful of little branches that had some really unique kinds of marks and a lot of variation in line weight, a lot of I don't know. Yeah, variation in line weight, variation in texture, in the line, broken lines, things like that. I read somewhere, I think, that you came from a graffiti background. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the kind of strong tapers and variation in line weights came from that, or is it from more of an illustrative?
Well, in the graffiti, there's a variation of outlines.
Right.
But then in the illustration also. So it does two things that I really like. Maybe you can say it came from the graffiti, but then I appreciate it from the illustration point of view also, and I apply it to the tattoo.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I like that a lot. Playing with the lines, playing with the texture and the shading, like having embracing what the tool is. Like I like to embrace when I do the shading. I like to embrace that pepper, that dot work that comes out of the shader.
Right.
I'm not trying to hide it in any way. So I embrace all that.
Without diving too deep technically, one of the issues that we see a lot with up and coming tattooers that watch this show and send in portfolios is their tendency to kind of stay in black and gray, especially kind of stay in midtones. I think most likely it's because making bold, dark marks can reveal drawing weaknesses really easily, and people feel like if they stay in midtones that they can kind of fake it a little bit.
Blending, they're hiding stuff.
Right. And it seems like you use black for a long time before you blend out and start moving into lighter values.
Yeah, I like black. This is an old tip that old school tattooers will give you. Like try to use as much as black possible. Like 70% of the tattoo will be the black ink cap, and then the other will be the shadings, and then the skin is super important. But that black ink cap, you really have to use it.
Yeah. Do you also do a really nice job of leaving skin through, so the tattoos are really open and they flow, and that's a purposeful thing that's sometimes hard to have the discipline to leave enough skin, huh?
Yeah, it's a ballsy move.
Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah.
I've got a trial and error on that. Right. So I've done things that I think now that I've overshaded. So now I approach it very delicately, and I go with the black first and try to figure out my midtones. And if I'm able to leave a lot of skin open and embrace that, I think I'm going in a direction. It's unique. It's a different path.
Yeah. Changing gears just a little bit. You said are you from the San Juan area originally, or where in Puerto Rico?
San Juan.
So I guess you still have family and everything there?
Yeah.
You're pretty affected by hurricane?
Hurricane affected a little bit.
Yeah. Do you work down there? You have a shop down there that you work?
I used to have a shop. I closed it down. I went private for a couple of years, and then I shut down that, and I'm just traveling for the past year. So when I go down there, I work with friends.
Gotcha. And they've pretty well recovered?
Yeah, everything's recovered. Tattooing wise, it was recovered the next week.
Oh, really?
Island was out of power, and people wanted to get tattooed the next week. Like, like friends telling me, like they were calling, my appointment's still on, bro. Like,
oh, wow.
And he was like, well, I guess it is. I'm gonna go get a power plant and we'll get your tattoo going.
Right.
Yeah. So I got a couple of friends that they didn't struggle at all. He was like, it was on the contrary. Like people wanted to get even more and more tattoo.
Oh, that's interesting.
I didn't work for a couple of months after the hurricane, because we were not able to get in, so we had to stay in New York and in between New York and here.
Yeah.
But when I finally went back, like I keep hearing all the stories, and it was quite interesting.
Wow, sounds like it. I would have thought that tattooing would have been out of business for months on end.
No, some people struggle. Some shops, power took a little bit to come back because there were people out of power with 7-8 months. So that's a lot.
That's incredible.
Which means that some tattoo shops didn't have power, but people seem to work with the power plan, like going to the gas station, getting the gasoline, doing an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour line to get that, to go to the shop to fill out the generator. That would became a part of life. So these people doing that, and they're working.
Oh, wow.
Pretty interesting. Huh?
That is. It's crazy.
Crazy.
What? So you've had some experience in running a shop, running a private studio, and traveling full time.
Yeah.
Talk just a little bit about the dynamic of those three different things. Did you enjoy managing other artists, having a front desk?
It was cool. At the beginning of the shop, when I had my shop, it was just me for a couple of years until other artists came around. That was cool, being able to share experience. Later on, I went to conventions, started doing conventions, started going to big conventions, not even working them, just attending them. I went to London.
Yeah.
And that changed the perspective of how I look at things. Obviously, I knew I had to learn a lot more, but going there made me realize that you are going to learn, like if you approach all this that's available.
Yeah.
Because before that, before social media, it was all just magazines. And so you're seeing all these conventions, but it looks so far away, like it looks like unreachable. For when I'm sitting, I'm like, I'm never gonna get there.
Right.
But then social media starts out, and then you got more access to this, and be like, well, maybe I should go visit. Like it's a thing now.
Yeah.
So that opened my mind into where I should go, where my career was heading. I need to learn this. I know how to tattoo. I know how to make shading. I've done a few styles, but now I wanna just concentrate on one thing and trying to develop my own style or my own way of doing things, have a signature to it. So to do that, I felt that I needed to close the shop and work privately.
Yeah.
That way I'm dedicating more time to my client and to what I'm doing. And it went really well. When I closed the shop, people were telling me, like, are you nuts? Like, what are you doing? Like, you got an established business there. Like, what's going through your mind? I was like, no, it's going to be fine. I'm going to focus on my customers. I'm going to focus on the art, on making it better. Like, I think I could do it. They're like, okay. And it worked out. A year, 2 years later, it's like, man, you really become better. And I'm like, yeah, that was the whole point about it.
Yeah.
Then after the hurricane, which was a shame, I decided to close it down for entirely the shop, the private shop, and I decided to just go travel for one whole year. We completed that this past December. We were an entire year on the road.
Wow.
Without stopping. And it's been going great. I was able to pull it off. That was a challenge that we put to ourselves, me and my wife, like, can we do this? Can we go a full year with it? Can I have clients everywhere I go? Can I deliver the same caliber of work? You know, because expectations keep getting higher and higher. People be like, I want a piece from you, but I wanted you to deliver.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were able to do it, and I think it helped me a lot. All the changes.
Yeah.
Like right now at 35, change is good. That's what I was talking to one of the guys the other day. Like, it doesn't matter if you think it's good or bad change. Change is change, and change is good.
Yeah. Keeps you on your toes, forces you to.
Things are going to change regardless of you wanting to or not. So the hurricane made that aware for a lot of people in Puerto Rico. Like, things are going to change. Like we were not expecting that, and then that twist everything around. It made people move out. It made me take the decision to travel even more than what I was doing. So you got to get the best of things in that turn.
Did you find that you were able to book fairly easily as you bounced around the country or bounced around the world, mainly just through your social media following, or did help from the shops? Or
both? Yeah, help from the shop is always good. Here in San Diego, the Guru shop is very well established. So they got a lot of clientele wanting to get tattooed and really open-minded people. My social media also does really well. I've been paying a lot of attention to it.
Yeah.
Trying to promote myself in a way that is very appealing to people and explaining through pictures how the process is done, so that way they have an idea of how you're gonna do a full sleeve. So it's been good.
Yeah. Do you talk just a little bit about that? You curated. I mean, you made the conscious decision to start to tattoo in a specific way. You have a pretty consistent approach, a consistent subject matter, pretty much all black and gray. You're photographing it in a specific kind of clean way, and you're kind of building a brand through that, right?
Yeah. That's the whole point of it. I realized that you need to sell yourself in the best way possible for people to be sitting down again. Yeah. Of course, work's got to be really good. You got to offer something to that client for him to sit down.
You touched on, just for a second, the kind of the pressure as your reputation grows and people's expectation that the tattoo that they get is going to be the best tattoo that they've ever seen. That's what they expect when they sit down, and you can't really afford to have an off day. We've talked to a handful of artists that have grown and have big followings and a clientele that's really excited to get tattooed by them, and it's like they're like, man, I just can't have an off day. The pressure just continues to grow. Every tattoo people see, they expect it to be the best tattoo.
Yeah, that seems to be the way the industry is heading. Yeah, but the more comfortable you get doing it, for me, the more unique I explain to the person that it's going to be. Like, the more unique your tattoo is going to be. Like, I'm just going to give you something that is yours. It's going to be for you. Forget about what you've seen on the page. Forget about the core you sent me as reference. We're going to do yours. So I want you to be in an open mindset that it's going to be yours. It's like acquiring an art, a piece of art. You don't go and tell the person how to paint it. Right. He already does the painting and then he sells it. Yeah. So that's basically the approach. Yeah. And as more as I do it, the more stress I think I have doing it. The less stress. Yeah. Because it flows better. Right. When people come in an open mind and I just do my thing, go check in the mirror, they'll be like, yeah, I love it. I love what you've accomplished there. Like, I see it, it's different, but it's your thing. So they're happy with that. Yeah. And the more and more I do it, the less stress it is. I can come in with just a couple of ideas, and then everything just flows.
Yeah. And a lot of that has to do, I think, and as long as you've been in it, I'm sure you've seen the transition in the education level of our clientele. Yeah. Right? They're a lot more willing. Like you said, they wouldn't go and buy a painting and tell the person how to paint it. People seem to be less controlling. They're willing to give up more control. They come to someone for what they do. Yeah. Not what they want them to do.
And I think that's also a trial and error thing. They get tattooed. They try to manipulate tattoo artists, and then they get tattooed. It's okay. They're happy because they were able to get away with theirs because they told the artist what they wanted. But in the long run, they see other tattoos and they'll be like, did you came up with that idea? No, I went to a guy and he just did that. They'll be like, oh shit, that one's kind of better than mine, or well, why you did it? Oh, he explained it because of this and that, and it's like, oh, I kind of like yours better than mine. So those people come around and be like, yeah, I've learned my lesson. I know I'm not gonna try to manipulate you or to tell you what to do. You just do what you do. Yeah. I'm here because I like what you do, and that's what I want.
Yeah. I've seen that transition as well, and I love it. We used to, I know back when you first started, people would come in and they feel like they have to say everything that they ever wanted to say in this one tattoo. We used to call them cornucopia tattoos. Like, well, my dad's a Leo, my mom loves peonies, and my daughter rides horses, and and they want to fit all of it on their shoulder blade. And it seems like that has gone by the wayside for the most part.
At least you don't. Yeah, you and me don't see it that much. Those people still out there. Right. They're trying. Yeah. But it's what goes around comes around. It's a circle. Those clients, if they go on and want to have a bigger piece or a more signature kind of piece, they will eventually go to a specific artist.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people like on conventions and stuff, or guest spots that I'm doing, and they start out like
Doing
that.
Yeah. That's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So with the traveling that you've done, like I said, we have a lot of viewers that are just starting to travel, maybe just doing their first conventions, just starting to do guest spots. I'm sure traveling full time for a year, you've got some good tricks on. You've probably had to simplify your setup, what you bring along. You can't carry an entire shop's worth of equipment around, I assume.
Yeah.
Do you have any good tips for traveling?
A few years ago, I simplified the machines that I use. I only use one machine. So I guess if you're using just a machine with a bunch of different cartridges, that would simplify stuff. So I use a conventional needle, but I only use one machine.
Okay.
That makes it easier. One machine runs out, I got exactly another one. Needles, I try to keep it simple. You just use two different kind of liner and two different kind of shaders.
I guess working in mostly black and gray, you don't have to carry a lot of colors around, a lot of inks around.
Yeah, and if I carry my inks around, I try to stay with 10, 15 colors. So that way I don't go too crazy with it, or I don't go, I don't use something that then I end up forgetting what I'm using.
Yeah.
And then if it's a work in progress, then I'm like, what I was doing here?
Yeah.
So that way I got my 10, 15 colors that I've been using for the past 4 years. So I got my own color scheme, which is kind of smart in a way.
Yeah. That
I recommend
definitely.
for people.
Absolutely. I'm always confused and blown away when I'm walking through a convention and I see someone with, a tray of 40 colors out and they've got like 6 reds and like this flesh tones that are like 15 different flesh tones. I'm like,
it's disturbing.
How do you know what you're doing there?
How are you gonna remember if something goes wrong? Like let's say you nailed that tattoo, it came out perfect, you get a picture of it and all. But then when that tattoo come back and it didn't heal properly, or you need to do a touch-up, how do you do that?
I feel the same way. I really, obviously people ask a lot of technical questions on our channel and things like that, and color is one of the big, inks that we're using and things like that are one of the biggest questions. And I always recommend that people go with just primary, just buy the bright colors, and then you can make everything else from a few bright colors instead of buying the muted earth set and the zombie set and this set. And it's nearly impossible to know what those things are.
I mean, the simple you go, the better it is. If you could take a color class, like a color scheme class, they're gonna start out with basic stuff. So I think if you're starting out with tattoo, you should start out with basic stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, internet makes things more complicated in that term.
Right. So you're awesome. So you're settling back down now. You said you traveled for a full year.
Yeah. We have half of the year planned already. We go to Paris after San Diego, and then we go back to New York. So that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then after that, we don't know what we're gonna do.
How long in Paris?
We're gonna be a week. We go for the convention.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe do a guest spot.
Yeah. So if people want to book, what's the best way to follow you, to keep up with where you're going to be? Do you keep it up to date on your website, or is it mostly
Instagram?
social media?
Mostly social media. Mostly Instagram.
Yeah.
That's where I try to advertise it more.
Yeah.
And the email. So the email is in the social media.
Okay.
So that's the best way.
The social media is just at Fibs with an underscore afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And we'll put all that in the show notes. Is it pretty easy still to get tattooed? I guess traveling as much as you do, you probably don't book a long ways, do you?
No, I don't book a long way.
Yeah. It seems like it'd be difficult to, or it'd be difficult to keep up with your schedule if you were booking a year and bouncing around.
I don't book a year. I just barely. I'm booking for April in New York, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be here again for the summer for the convention here in San Diego.
How was that? Did you do it last year? Was the first year? Right?
Yeah. Bill Canals Invitational.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Was it?
It's so good. Yeah.
And it's when? What time of year?
It's gonna be June 20. Yeah, late June.
Okay.
20 something.
Yeah. Awesome.
Really phenomenal. Bringing European artists to the States.
Yeah.
Which you don't get a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's definitely a plus.
We were talking last night at the other shop when we were podcasting about just how difficult it must be to put on a successful convention these days because of just the level of competition and doing an invitational and trying to bring people in from overseas, and you have to really go above and beyond for the artist to separate yourself. It's not a business I would want to be in.
It's difficult. From the convention perspective, I host a convention in Puerto Rico with Jalsi. I don't know if you're familiar with this name. He's a big collector, from Puerto Rico. He puts down the show there. So I kind of host this with him. I help him bring people back. I promote the convention because I'm traveling, and it's difficult. Sometimes we've done it 2 years, and this past year, like when we thought that it's okay, then people come up to us and say like it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we think we can do a better job. But the artist there thinks it's phenomenal. Like we're gonna come back. So it's definitely difficult because you don't know what's going on. You think you can do better, but then everyone tells you it's good. So
yeah. I've heard. I didn't know you were involved in that show. I've heard good things about it.
It's a good show. Yeah, we've done it. We had to cancel it in 2017 because of the hurricane.
Right.
But
so that was meant to be the first one?
That was meant to be the second one.
Okay.
First one was 2016.
Okay.
And then he postponed it for 2018. It just happened. It was actually really good. Everyone was really happy. Puerto Rico crowd is really good. They get tattooed a lot.
Yeah.
So all those international artists, everyone's working. Everyone's doing awesome pieces. Got a lot of people from the States that love going there just to do the convention. They have a good time and then they stay for vacation.
Yeah.
So it's a good convention. We promote it as that, and people love it. So
I've never been to Puerto Rico. Is it a pretty affordable place to vacation and hang out after the show, or is it?
It's okay. It's United States, so it's American currency.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. You're not getting that. You're not getting that all-inclusive hotel stuff that you get in the other smaller islands.
Yeah.
So this one you have to pay by everything by itself, but it's really good. I mean, Puerto Rico, you can just rent a car and drive around. There's no, you don't have to stay in the resort. They're not gonna have a guard there telling you like, no, you cannot go out there because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So you can just do whatever you want. Go to whatever beach you want. Go to whatever restaurant you want. You want to go to the rainforest, you'll go there. So after going there, you're gonna like fall in love with it. Because it's cool. People go with a good expectation, but after visiting and we hosting and we telling them where to go, they'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna come back, definitely.
Yeah. That's great. Cool. Well, I know you have to get to tattooing here in the next 15 or 20 minutes, but I really appreciate you taking time.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Thank you very much, man.
I'm glad that we were able to cross paths. Like I said, I've been keeping up with your work, and I really
thank you very
much.
Like
seeing what you're doing.
So. I hope everything goes really good to you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you guys for supporting what we do, and we'll see you next time.